Going on the record, calling State of Wisconsin versus Maxwell Anderson, case 24, CF1692, appearances.
Attorney Megan Newport and Ian Vance Karazan appears for the state.
Attorney Anthony Cotton and Jason Finley. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So welcome back. Hope we had a lovely evening. As you recall, we are still on the state's case in chief. State, are you prepared to call your next witness?
State calls Detective Nora Burlow.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
If you could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
My first name is Nora, N-O-R-A. My last name is Donegan, D like David, O-N-E-G-A-N. But I'm formally last name Burlow, B-U-R-L-O.
Thank you. Detective Donegan, how are you employed?
I'm a detective with the Milwaukee Police Department.
How long have you been with the department?
7 years.
How long have you been a detective?
For about 6 months.
Prior to being promoted to detective, where were you assigned and what was your rank?
I was a police officer at District 5.
Does District 5 encompass the area of 1858 North Commerce Street?
Yes, it does.
That location's in the city and county of Milwaukee?
It is.
When you were assigned to District 5, can you explain what your general basic duties on a day-to-day basis were?
Sure. We responded to calls for service. We also conducted traffic, foot patrol at times. My partner and I were assigned to the tavern squad or the licensed premise squad, so we had some additional duties of monitoring gas stations and bars and things like that. We also responded to help out with medical emergencies and things like that.
Were you working in that capacity on April 2nd, 2024?
Yes.
Who was your partner that day?
My partner was James Terrell.
Were you asked to do a welfare check at the address that I mentioned before, 1858 North Commerce Street?
Yes.
Can you describe what information you received going into that assignment?
So my partner and I had actually been in District 7 conducting a specialized patrol that night. I noticed looking at our CAD system, our call system where our calls come in and we can visually see information regarding those calls. I noticed a call, a welfare check for the address 1858 West Commerce, or North Commerce, excuse me. And upon clicking on that call, it was noted that there had been a suspicious vehicle fire where the owner of the vehicle had tried to be located but hadn't been found earlier on in that day. And it was requested again that officers go back to her apartment and try to locate her.
Did you have a name associated with either that apartment or the suspicious vehicle fire at that point?
Yes.
What was that?
Sade Robinson.
Approximately what time did you and Officer Terrell make your way to that location?
Our shift ends at 3 a.m., but we went at about 4 o'clock, maybe 3:45.
And what did you do once there?
So prior to getting there, we actually made contact with the maintenance man who lives in the building. And once we were there, he let us in and escorted us up to her apartment.
Do you remember his name?
Yes.
What was it?
Eddie Feliciano.
Then what happened?
He provided us access to the apartment. My partner and I just looked around to see if she was there or if anything seemed out of place or suspicious.
Was anyone present inside the apartment?
No.
What apartment was it?
309.
Describe the general layout and your observations of the apartment.
It was a studio apartment. When you first enter, there's a bathroom to your left. There's a larger closet to your right. And as you move into the apartment more, there's a kitchenette to your left. And then in front of you is all big open space, a studio.
Did it appear to be lived in, like somebody was living there? Describe sort of the contents of the apartment.
It actually just reminded me of a college student's apartment. So it was a little messy, but you know, to be expected for someone who's younger. She had a bed. There was a small day bed that was not pulled out, you know, like a trundle, but all tucked in like a couch. And there were lots of purses and clothes, and normal for a college girl.
And you're referencing somebody younger, somebody that could be in college. Did you know Sade's age at the time that you went to do the welfare check?
Yes, so in our call systems, when they give a name, usually there's a date of birth attached to it, or we can also look in our records and try to figure out how old that person is.
And do you recall what her age was?
I remember early 20s, or not even 21. I think she was 19.
When you're in the apartment doing a welfare check like this, are you looking for signs, in addition to looking for someone, are you looking for signs of a struggle or information about what might have happened to that person?
Yes, as well as identifiers.
Did you locate anything of note that would lead you to believe that something had happened to her?
No.
And did you find any identification?
Yes.
What kind of identification?
I found a Wisconsin ID in a purse.
So nothing suspicious in the apartment at all to lead you to believe that something had happened to her?
No.
Then what happened?
While I located the identifier, my partner did talk to Mr. Feliciano, and once we were done, we left the apartment. My partner and I made note of a few of the surveillance cameras in that building, and then we left and went back to our district and reported to our lieutenant on our findings.
Were you able to access the surveillance cameras at that time?
No, we were not.
How come?
Mr. Feliciano does work in the building, however, he is not office staff. He didn't at the time at least have access to the tenant's files or information.
Where did you take note of the location of those surveillance cameras?
There was one camera in the elevator area, I believe when you got off the elevator on her floor, on the third floor, and then on the first floor, before you, well, I'm gonna start from the outside, actually. So when you first come into the apartment building, there's a camera. As you're walking down the hall, there's another camera. We didn't make it all the way down the hall because it cuts off to that elevator area to go up to the third floor. You could see a camera at the end of the hall on the ceiling, and then in the elevator area, there was a camera. So the elevators are visible.
Did you take note of where the resident parking was? Was there a parking lot associated with this building?
Yes.
Where was that?
Right in front of the main entrance. It's a large apartment building.
And that would be?
Parking lot, excuse me.
Would that be on Commerce Street?
On Commerce Street, yes.
What did you do after taking note of the video camera locations?
Like I said, we went back to our district and then informed our lieutenant of our findings.
At some point, did you learn about a human leg having been found at Warnemont Park?
Objection, hearsay.
I don't think that question calls for hearsay. I will allow the question. Go on. You can answer it.
Okay, I actually did learn about a leg being found there, and I found that out prior to the start of my shift, actually. It was in the news.
Okay, so prior to your shift on April 2nd?
Yes.
At some point, did you connect the welfare check that you had done at Sade's apartment with the human leg?
I did, it was more just a funny feeling. When I clicked on that call, I saw this suspicious car fire, and the owner hadn't been located. The owner was Sade. And then one of her friends called in a welfare check for that Commerce address. We didn't locate her. She's a young girl. She didn't have any history, I don't believe, criminal history in our systems. And after talking with the maintenance man about how she was excited for a date, I felt uncomfortable being a woman who dates or has dated.
Objection,
For her
relevance
safety.
relevance to wherever she's going with this, Your Honor. Unresponsive.
I can
I
ask
will
a,
sustain that objection. I would ask you to re-ask the question.
I can ask a follow-up question. Did you relay your welfare check at Sade's apartment to the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department,
Yes,
and specifically to Detective Donner?
yes,
Okay. I have nothing further.
Cross.
Thank you. So you went to Sade's apartment.
yes,
You said it was messy.
yes,
Stuff everywhere.
yes.
Okay, just one room with stuff just scattered all over the place.
No, I would consider that more ransacked. The
Okay.
messy is, maybe she didn't put all of her clothes away.
So there's clothes just laying out all over the place?
There were some clothes on the bed in her daybed, yes.
Okay, in a purse just sitting there on a couch.
She had a lot of purses, actually.
Oh, and one of them
but
had
they
her
were out.
ID in it.
Yes.
So her purse is in her apartment with her ID.
Well, she had multiple purses.
Okay, one of those purses had her ID in it in her apartment.
It had an ID.
Was this a real ID or a fake ID?
It looked to be a real ID, but I can't recall if it was expired, maybe.
Did you take pictures?
No, but I did have my body cam activated.
Great, and Sade wasn't there, right?
No, she was not.
That's all.
State.
Nothing further.
Thank you, Detective.
All right, thank you.
State your next witness.
Nicholas Kropp.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
If you could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
Nicholas Kropp, Nicholas Kropp.
How are you employed?
I'm a police officer with the city of Milwaukee.
How long have you been a police officer with the city of Milwaukee?
Going on 13 years now.
Were you working back on April 3rd, 2024?
Yes.
What was your shift that day, and did you have a partner?
Yes, I had a partner. It was Markel McKinley, Markel McKinley, and we were working day shift, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. that day.
On that day, were you assigned to conduct an investigation into a possible missing person?
Yes, I was.
Were you provided the name of Sade Robinson for that person?
Yes.
And on that date, did you look up any information before conducting follow-up, going out and conducting follow-up?
Yes, we primarily review the reports from the prior shifts when a missing has been filed to see what has been done and what needs to still be done, and continue along the same lines of the investigation.
So basically, at the start of your shift, you get up to speed, and then you decide what you're going to do next?
Correct.
What did you do?
After reviewing the reports, we went to Ms. Robinson's apartment to do another check just to make sure she had not returned to the apartment, and try to see if there was anything that would provide further investigative leads within the apartment at that time.
The apartment you're referring to, was that apartment 309 at 1858 North Commerce Street?
Yes, it is.
Did you meet someone from another department there?
Yes, there were members of the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department.
Did you make contact with the property manager?
Yes,
Do you recall her name?
it was Christine. I don't recall her last name.
When you made contact with Christine, did you also speak over the phone to someone else who worked at the apartment complex?
Yes,
And did you gather basic information about Sade that the apartment had?
yes,
Did that include a kind of vehicle that she had registered to the apartment?
yes, it did.
What was that vehicle?
I believe it was a Honda Accord. I don't recall the license plate.
All right, you don't recall the license plate?
I do not.
If I showed you a copy of your report, would that maybe help refresh your recollection?
Yes, it would.
Just gonna have you read right here, silently to yourself, and then tell me when you're done.
Okay.
Do you recall what kind of car that was listed as Sade?
It was a Honda Accord with the Wisconsin registration plate ASP1171.
Honda Accord or Honda Civic?
I'll stipulate it's a Civic.
Honda Civic, I'm sorry.
Okay. ASP 1171?
Yes,
All right. After getting that information, did you go to her apartment
yes,
and did you look around inside?
yes.
Did you find her?
We did not.
Did you find an ID card for her?
I believe we did find an ID card, yes.
Did you find a cell phone?
I don't believe we found a cell phone.
After checking her apartment and not finding her, did you subsequently try to see if you could access the surveillance video from the 1858 North Commerce Street building?
We did. My partner primarily did more of the surveillance video, but I did view parts of it, yes.
Okay. So the cameras were functional.
Correct.
And do you recall what, if anything, you saw on those cameras?
There were cameras that showed portions of the parking lot and the entry and exit to the apartment building, and there was a portion of the video that did show Ms. Robinson leaving the apartment.
After checking her apartment, did you return to your district station?
Yes.
In the subsequent days, did you conduct additional follow-up investigation related to Ms. Robinson being missing?
Yes.
On April 6th, did you go to the area of the south side of Milwaukee?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk to you about what brought you there. Why is it that you went to that location?
During a portion of the missing investigations, one of the things that I tend to do is file exigent requests with social media companies, phone companies, and things like that, which can often provide locations associated with either the device or the account. One of the ones that was performed was a request with Verizon. There was one through Facebook, through Meta Platforms, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram. And through those requests, we were able to determine approximate last locations of connections from the phone number associated with Ms. Robinson, as well as the Facebook account and some Gmail and Apple accounts as well.
On April 6th, where did that information exactly lead you to go?
The Verizon return indicated that it was in the area of South Kinnickinnick, in, I believe, on the border of St. Francis.
Okay. Was there, where did the information come that led you to the south side of Milwaukee, the city of Milwaukee?
We searched a significant number of locations. Is there a specific?
Did you search the area of like Alverno College?
Yes.
Okay. Jackson Park?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's already been entered into evidence as Exhibit 443. It's gonna come up on the screen to your right if you, I don't know if you can see that, or if I need to move it, I can.
Yeah, I cannot see that.
Now it's on. You want me to turn it?
Yes, please.
You able to see that?
Yes.
All right. On Exhibit 443, we're looking at a portion of the city of Milwaukee, correct?
Yes.
In the middle here, the street going across is West Oklahoma Avenue, correct?
Correct.
The main street to the south would be Morgan Avenue,
Correct.
and that's where Alverno College is, and we got 43rd Street right here, correct?
Correct.
So did you search the area of Alverno College?
Yes.
And what areas did you search and what did you find, if anything?
We searched an area along the entry to Alverno College. We did not find anything there, and I believe that search was based off of points off of an app provided by a friend.
Okay, so you would have gotten that information as it was briefed to you, as it was provided to other members of law enforcement?
Correct.
Understood. Then you also, did you indicate you searched the area of Jackson Park?
We did search the area of Jackson Park.
What did you do there?
I believe most of these points, where the points shifted, it was in the area of waterways, which was consistent with other information that we've been given prior. So we did search most of the marshy areas and kind of wetland areas near a lot of the watery, the waterways and such.
Did you find anything in either of those locations?
We did not.
And lastly, before I move on, in the middle of this, right here would be 39th Street, correct?
Correct.
Okay. This street here is Euclid, fair?
Yes.
Okay. That would have been basically right in the middle of the two places that you were looking.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. You had also mentioned searching the area of South Kinnick near, or in St. Francis, correct?
Yes.
So I'm shifting the map over here and gonna zoom in. This street here that my mouse is on, that would be South Kinnick Ave?
Correct.
All right, and to the north, we've got Howard Avenue.
Yes.
Are you aware if the St. Francis Police Department is on Howard Avenue here?
I am not, but I will take your word for it.
Okay. And then on the bottom here, we've got Layton, correct?
Yes.
Is this about the area you searched in St. Francis?
I believe that's the general area, yes.
All right, what did you search in St. Francis?
So the point that was provided to us from Verizon was a cell phone tower. It gave a specific address, and the return indicated that it was approximately 1/3 mile, I believe it was southeast of that location. So my partner and I went to the area of that tower and conducted a search of the area. In the general area, approximately 1/3 of a mile from where that tower was located. The area included some railroad, a dead-end street that abutted the railroad, as well as a power substation, a metal recycling plant, and I believe a steel drum facility.
The information that brought you there came from Verizon, you said?
Correct.
And so Verizon provided you with the location of a cell tower that her phone had connected to?
Yes, that was the last location that the phone had connected to, per the information we got from Verizon.
So essentially, you were using the location of that tower to try to search around that area for her anything, right?
Correct.
Did you find anything?
We did not.
Did you also check an area near Grant Park in South Milwaukee?
Yes.
And if I move the map down south here, we've got College Avenue is this street here where my mouse is that right?
Correct.
Okay, and then Grant Park would be this park that I'm kind of circling here, right?
Correct.
And then if you go just north of that, you have Warnemont Park.
Yes.
Okay. What part of Grant Park did you search, and tell us what you found, if anything?
The day that we went to Grant Park, we were searching for, again, points that were obtained from one of those requests. And the areas that we searched included a lagoon, the South Milwaukee Lagoon, which is in that park. There's also a downstream portion near the lagoon where there's a river, and there were a handful of people that were fishing that day that we asked if they had seen anything out of the ordinary, and they indicated they had not.
This was all done on April 7th?
Correct.
Want to move ahead to April, staying on April 7th, did you also have information through the records you were requesting that the phone had potentially traveled into the River West area of Milwaukee?
I believe that information came from the app provided by a friend as well, but there were points along Humboldt Boulevard from approximately North Avenue to Capitol, I believe. And Humboldt, again, in that area is fairly close to a river, which was kind of consistent with the waterway portion of the investigation that we had been investigating.
All right, and I've moved the map here. Is this the area on the screen that you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
At the top here, we've got Capitol Drive. Is this the street that's going across the top?
Correct.
And then right about the middle of the screen here, we would have Humboldt Boulevard.
Correct.
There's a number of parks in this area that seem to border the Milwaukee River, fair?
Yes.
One of those is Pleasant Valley Park here.
Correct.
All right. And if I go down, there's Gordon Park.
Yes.
Are there others that you searched?
We didn't necessarily define it by which parks we searched. It was kind of just the area between the roadway and the waterway. So it would be, I guess it would include Hubbard Park as well, as we went kind of all the way up to Capitol.
Okay. So when you say you went from the river to the roadway, are you talking about the roadway Humboldt?
Yes. And there are some other side roads, portions of it that extend to the east from Humboldt that get a little bit closer to the waterway. So we would have gone from whatever the closest road was down to the waterway at that point.
And again, you're doing this with your partner?
Correct.
Okay. That day, did you find anything?
We did not.
Do you recall how far south from Capitol Drive that you were searching?
I believe we ended around North Avenue.
Okay, so we've got Capitol Drive at the top here. Here's Humboldt, and the river goes south. This is Locust, right?
Correct.
All right. And then all the way down here, North Avenue.
Correct.
Okay. So that stretch of river, that's what you were focused on. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
As well as the streets between Humboldt and the river?
Correct.
Anything found of note?
No.
Did you participate in any searches of Warnemont Park?
Yes.
In what capacity?
I'm also a member of the Milwaukee Police Underwater Investigations Unit. That is our dive team. We did respond out to Warnemont Park. I believe it was about a week later to attempt dive operations in trying to locate any evidence of the missing or homicide that may have occurred.
Would April 15th sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. How many people were on the dive team that went out with you?
I don't recall the exact number. I believe we are at about 12 to 15 people, but not everybody was there that day.
And what area of the shoreline did you search? Can you describe that?
There is a kind of almost hidden beach that is at the end of a pathway that goes down to a waterworks area. We searched nearly half a mile of shoreline. I believe it was slightly less than that, but it was kind of the fairly accessible area if you had gone down that entry to the waterway, or I'm sorry, the waterworks facility.
That would have been the City of Cudahy pump station?
Correct.
Okay. And you went there, I assume, because that's where you had known the leg had been found?
That's correct.
Anything found?
No.
I have nothing else. Thank you.
Cross?
Yeah, just briefly, Judge. Good morning, officer.
Good morning.
So you just testified about kind of your role in the investigation. The first thing you zeroed in on was her location data from, was it Verizon?
That was one of them, yes.
And that's why you explained that you had searched all those various parks along the river, correct?
I believe the parks were all from the app provided by a friend, but that was one of the set of data points that was involved in the investigation.
And you're searching with your partner, correct?
Yes,
And are you two on foot or on bikes or what?
we were on foot.
And so are you searching through, is it like wooded areas as well and like open fields, or what's the, I guess, the geographical, what does it look like?
Yes, most of the areas that we had walked through that were adjacent to the river were marshy and wooded areas. We did perform searches of that general area on multiple days, and noted that one of the days the water had receded significantly, so there was parts of the shoreline that were exposed on the second date that were not previously, so we searched it again on a day where the water level was lower as well.
Okay, and your area that you're searching is confined to just how far away from the river?
It depended on the area. There were some areas where it was pretty narrow to the river, where there would be, a steep hill or something, for an example, where the search would not have gone as far from the river. There were other areas where it was kind of a larger, flatter area, which kept us, farther from the river, or made the area larger and spanned farther from the river.
Okay, and about how many hours did you spend searching the river area?
It would have been the majority of at least 2 shifts, so probably 16 plus hours, I would imagine.
And did it encompass 2 different days?
Yes,
And during those searches of the Riverwalk, you didn't find any evidence of anything of evidentiary value?
correct.
You didn't find like a knife,
No,
a saw, any weapons?
no,
You didn't find any clothing?
not that seemed relevant to the investigation, no.
And during your search of these areas, did you search any residential areas, any residential neighborhoods?
The areas that were generally close, we would walk closer to some of the houses. I don't know that I would say that we searched through the residential areas.
Did you search around where Max Anderson's residence is?
I did not.
Okay. And you said so April 6th was the search of all around the Riverway, correct?
I believe that was
And then April 7th was when you went to Grant Park.
that sounds correct, yes.
And that's, and then that's where you were looking through the lagoon and through the stream.
Correct,
And you didn't find any evidence at Grant Park, correct?
correct.
And then about a little over a week later, April 15th, you participated in some dive operations at Warnermont.
Yes,
And I assume this dive unit, it's several different officers, or is it just you?
no, it's several officers.
Okay, and is you hooked up like the kind of like scuba tanks, or what is it like?
It depends on the situation. I believe in that one, we did not have scuba tanks on because it was very shallow in the area that we were searching. So in order to put all of the equipment on that we would for a deeper dive, it wouldn't have been necessary for that particular operation.
Okay, and then how far away from the coastline are you in the water?
We did make multiple passes, so it varied. Each pass was different, so we covered more area. I believe, if I had to estimate, probably 75 feet out would have been the maximum that we went out on that date.
Okay, and is it like a line of dive unit officers searching in unison?
Yes.
Okay, and this area that the water, inside of the water, is it like rocky or is it sandy?
There were portions of it that were sandy, but the majority of it were larger rocks.
Okay, and the reason that you're searching that area is because you said that's the area where the leg was found.
Correct.
And you didn't locate any instruments like a knife or an axe or anything like that.
No.
And you didn't find any bones or any flesh or anything like that.
No.
I have nothing further.
State?
Nothing else?
Thank you. State, your next witness.
State calls Evelyn Gertz.
Ma'am, I'm gonna actually have you remain standing and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. You can please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
Evelyn Gertz.
Could you spell your name, Ms. Gertz?
EVELYNGEURTS.
Did you know Sade Robinson?
Yes,
How did you know her?
she was my friend
How long had you known her?
for about a year.
In addition to being friends, did you also work together?
Yes,
Where did you work?
at the Wisconsin Club.
What's the Wisconsin Club?
It's a membership club. People have dinner there. There's events there. I was a banquet server with her.
So a waitress?
Yes,
Okay. How long had you and Sade worked at the Wisconsin Club together?
for almost a year.
In addition to working together, did you socialize outside work?
Yes.
Can you describe some of what you would do for fun?
Sometimes she would just come over to my house. A lot of the times we would just work on homework together, stuff like that. One time I went to a work event with her at Pizza Shuttle.
Were you also aware that she was working at Pizza Shuttle?
Yes,
So in addition to the Wisconsin Club, she was working at Pizza Shuttle.
yeah,
You described that you would do homework together. Were you both students?
yes.
Where was Sade a student?
MHCC,
Do you know what she was studying?
something with criminal justice.
Were you in school with her?
No,
Can you describe Sade's personality?
very kind, very welcoming, very understanding, very strong, very smart. hardworking. Probably just the strongest, kindest, most charismatic person I've ever met.
Is this hard for you today?
Yes.
In addition to being friends and coworkers, did Sade also share location information with you?
Yes.
Can you describe how that was shared?
Through Find My iPhone.
Was there something called 360?
I didn't have that with her.
Okay, but you're aware of what that is?
Yes.
Okay, so she shared her location information with you through Find My iPhone.
Yes.
Can you describe what that means, what that entails?
So on Apple iPhone, you can enable your location for other contacts, and I have done this with many of my friends just for overall safety. I do it with my family as well.
And what can you see when you share location information with someone?
You can do it for a short time, or you can share it for like indefinitely, and she just had shared it with me indefinitely, so you can see the pinpoint location of exactly where that person is when you look.
So if you were utilizing that app, you'd be able to see where someone was at any point in time.
Yes.
At some point on April 2nd, in those days surrounding April 2nd, did you learn that Sade was missing?
Yes.
And what did you do after learning that?
I just looked at my phone and looked at anything. Well, I remembered that she had shared her location, and so I looked at that right away.
And what did it show you?
Warnemont Park, 4 a.m. And I think I had checked it the morning of the 3rd when I found out.
So at 4 a.m., her phone location information was at Warnemont Park.
Yes, and so I knew that at that point her phone must have died or something, otherwise it would show her location at that time. When I had checked it, it would say this morning, right now at 9 a.m. or whatever it is, it's at this location, but it didn't say that, it said 4 a.m.
On what day?
The morning of the 3rd, I believe.
Is when you checked that application?
Yes, I think she was reported missing on the 2nd, and then I didn't know about it until the morning on the 3rd because one of my coworkers had sent me the missing report.
In your experience using the Find My iPhone app, if someone's phone goes off the network or goes dead, turns off, their location information, does it stop sharing?
Yeah, if someone's phone dies, it stops right at that time when it died. Usually, yes.
In your experience, would that person's last location prior to the phone dying still be shared with you, the user of that app?
I guess I'm not quite sure what you're asking.
Okay, so if someone's...
I'm gonna object on foundation grounds as well.
I'll sustain the objection, lay the foundation.
You use the Find My iPhone app yourself?
Yes.
How many people approximately do you think you've shared your location with?
Right now, I would say probably like 10 of my friends and family.
Is this something that you check on a regular basis?
Sometimes, I think more so my family and just sometimes my female friends. I think women, we're more so concerned about our safety, just in general, especially young women. So it's something that we have utilized for our safety.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
In your experience using the app, if someone's phone goes off the network or dies, does their last location still show up on your iPhone app, Find My iPhone app?
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't know the 4 a.m. at Warnemont Park, you're unsure of what day that was 4 a.m. on, correct?
I believe it was the morning of the 3rd.
Okay.
I believe.
I have nothing further, thank you.
Cross?
Yes, thank you. So you had been friends with Sade for about a year or so?
Yes.
Because you worked together at the Wisconsin Club?
Yes.
And you also talked to the police, right?
Yes.
You you actually made a phone call to the Milwaukee Police Department on Thursday, April 4th, right?
So I get the days mixed up because I have very poor memory from that time. So
Okay.
as soon as I had found out she was missing, that is when I called.
Sure, data is not that important. So as soon as you found out she was missing, you made a phone call to the police department and expressed your concern, right?
Yes.
Never met Maxwell Anderson, have you?
No.
And Sade didn't speak to you about Maxwell Anderson?
No.
Only person she spoke to you about was Josh Stortz?
Yes. That was
Man-
the person that she had told me most recently who she was speaking to.
Sure. And you were also aware of the fact that, well, you actually helped her set up dating profiles, right?
I did at one point, yes.
Tinder and something called Hinge.
Yeah.
That's all.
State?
Nothing further.
Thank you, ma'am. State your next witness.
This goes with the cop.
Detective John Galat.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
Detective John, John, Galat, Guillot.
You a detective with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office?
I am, yes.
How long have you been with the Sheriff's Office?
Approximately 9.5 years.
Did you participate into the investigation of a reported missing person, Sade Robinson?
I did, yes.
At some point early on in the investigation, did you come to learn that she lived at 1858 North Commerce Street
Yes,
in apartment 309?
that's correct, yes.
Did you ever personally go to that apartment complex?
I did, yes.
And did you become aware through your investigation that she had a job?
That is correct, yes.
She was reported missing on or about April 2nd, correct?
That is correct.
And where was the job she had last worked, to your knowledge, prior to being reported missing?
Ms. Robinson worked at Pizza Shuttle, which is an establishment on the east side of Milwaukee. I believe the actual address is 1827 North Farwell Avenue.
That's not very far from her apartment, fair to say?
Correct.
You could just go up Commerce Street East, hit Humboldt, and get there pretty easily, correct?
That is correct.
Did you go to Pizza Shuttle at any time to attempt to get video?
I did. When I went there, I spoke to a general manager and also obtained video from her last shift at Pizza Shuttle.
What was the name of the manager you talked to?
The gentleman's name was Philip Wilder.
You said you got video from her last shift. You were informed that her last shift was on April 1st, is that fair?
That is correct, yes.
So the video footage you would have been collecting from Pizza Shuttle would have been from April 1st?
Correct.
Were you aware whether she showed up for work the following day?
She did not.
Okay, so no video from that day, just April 1st.
That's correct, yes.
I'm gonna pull up on screen here. This is exhibit number 37. While that's coming up, were you also aware or made aware at any point of what kind of car Ms. Robinson had?
Yes, it was a Honda Civic. I'm not exactly sure what year the Civic was, though.
Okay. I've got exhibit 37 on screen. The video title is titled Cam 6 2024 41 timestamped 9/15/36 at the bottom. Are you guys getting a glare? Are you good with that TV where it is? Okay, detective, what are we looking at?
We are looking at the, I guess you can call it a parking structure underneath the pizza shuttle. It's just parking. And again, that's underneath the actual restaurant itself.
And this is the video from Pizza Shuttle you recovered?
That's correct.
I'd move Exhibit 37 in.
Any objection?
No.
37's received.
The layout of Pizza Shuttle, we've got this parking structure, which would be, or parking slab, if you will, on street level, right?
That's fair to say, yes.
And then when you would go out off to the left side of the screen here, that would be Farwell.
That's correct, yes.
There's a stairway that leads from Farwell up one floor that gets you into the restaurant.
That is correct, yes.
Out the back here, that's just an alley, right? Even though you can't see it because of the glare here?
Correct.
Okay. Off to the left here, what is this that I'm circling?
That's Sade Robinson's Honda Civic.
I'm gonna play this clip. It's less than 2 minutes. What are the shape of her taillights?
It kind of resembles like the letter C. You can notice that specifically when the taillights are illuminated.
Is that her getting out?
That is correct, yes.
Nobody else gets out of the car?
Correct.
All right. And the direction she's walking would be to get to the staircase to go up to the restaurant?
Correct.
Stop that clip at 50 seconds. I'm next going to play camera 3 from the same timestamp. I'm going to advance the video to 50 seconds. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to use the fast forward here to get to 50 seconds, but while that's happening, Detective, this is essentially the staircase we were just talking about, right?
Correct. So essentially, you have the parking structure on the bottom. You walk out towards Farwell Avenue, and those staircases that you see to the left are essentially what you walk up to enter into Pizza Shuttle.
And this would be right after she left her car.
That is correct.
Are you able to tell or provide a description of her clothing?
Yes, Ms. Robinson's wearing what appears to be blue jeans. They appear to be having some kind of cuts in them. And then she has a black puffer jacket and then some type of white shirt.
All right. Sort of like a cable knit sweater?
Yes, that's correct.
What kind of coat?
I would classify that as like a black puffer jacket.
Shoes?
White in color.
And she's carrying a large purse, correct?
That is correct, yes.
So she arrives at work at around 9:16 in the morning?
Correct.
And lastly, I'm going to go back to camera 6. This is camera 6 at 16:57:37 on April 1st, 2024. So this would be what?
Again, camera of the parking area of Pizza Shuttle. And that you can see, currently you can see Ms. Robinson's Honda Civic.
What time is this at?
16:57.
So just before 5 PM?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Playing this clip, it's 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes. I'm gonna fast forward here. Appears she's sitting in her car, fair?
Correct.
All right. And now an employee coming up to talk to her?
Correct.
Clock just past 5 PM, right?
Correct.
And her taillights come on. She's pulling out of the spot, correct?
That is correct.
Employee waving bye to her.
Correct.
And that's the end of the clip.
That is correct.
So based on that, it looks like she showed up for her work shift sometime a little after 9 AM and left pretty much at 5 PM.
That is correct, yes.
Is that consistent with information you received from meeting with that manager at Pizza Shuttle?
Correct, yes.
That's all.
Cross?
No.
Thank you. State your next witness.
State calls Officer Kiana Vines.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
My name is Kiana Vines, Keyona. Last name V as in Victor, Ines.
How are you employed?
I am employed with the Milwaukee Police Department as a police officer.
How long have you been with the Milwaukee Police Department?
22 years.
Did you speak to someone named Evelyn Gertz on April 4th, 2024?
Yes, I did.
And what did you speak to Ms. Gertz about?
She was telling me that her friend Sade Robinson was missing. She didn't know that she was missing, so she wanted to call and let the police department know that Sade shared her location with her via iPhone app.
Did Ms. Gertz tell you what day and the time and location she last saw Sade's location on that app?
Yes, she said it was April 2nd, 2024, at 4:33 a.m. at the address of 5400 South Lake Drive, and I believe that is Warner Mounts Golf Course in Cudahy, Wisconsin.
I have nothing further, thank you.
Cross?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
State your next witness.
Alana Fisher.
Anyone need a break on the jury? You're okay? Awesome.
standing and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, if you could please be seated, state and spell your name for the record.
Elena Fisher, ALANAFISHER,
Good morning. How old are you?
21.
Were you friends with Sade Robinson?
Yes.
How long had you known Sade Robinson?
Since 4th grade,
Were you two the same age?
roundabout,
Okay. What school?
Craig Montessori.
How close of a friend did you consider Sade?
My best friend.
She was your best friend?
Yes.
What sort of things would you do with her?
Talk on the phone
Hang out with her?
when we can.
Okay. Did there come a time in April of 2024 where you contacted law enforcement because Sade was missing?
Yes.
Can you tell us how you came to find out that Sade was missing?
I was at work. I checked my phone. My cousin asked me if I was okay. I called her. And then she said that she saw something on social media about Sade went missing. And then that's how I found out.
This was around the beginning of April of 24, right?
I can't remember the exact date, but
Sure, fair enough. Do you recall how long prior to that you had last seen Sade in person?
I can't remember.
The last time you hung out?
Can't explicitly remember.
Okay. How about the last time you two talked before that?
Pretty recently over the phone.
On the phone?
Yes.
Do you remember what you talked about?
Not exactly.
Did you know that she had recently gone on a vacation prior to that?
Yes.
Where did you know that she went to?
If I remember, that's when she went to her Jamaica trip.
Okay. You found out about that from her directly?
Yes, we were on the phone when she was on the trip.
Had you talked to her from the time she got back from the trip up until the time she had gone missing?
Yes.
On the phone?
Yes.
When you found out, I think you said it was from your cousin that she was missing? Is that right?
Yes.
When you found out that information, what did you do?
I can't remember the exact timeline of events.
That's fine. I just want to know how you responded to learning that information.
I believe I called my partner to pick me up from work.
And did you eventually contact law enforcement?
Yes.
Did you meet with a detective and talk to him and share information with him?
Not in person.
Not in person. Did you talk to one over the phone?
I believe so.
Okay. Do you know what Life 360 is?
Yes.
What is Life 360?
It's an app for you and your family to keep track of locations, make sure that they arrive safely, all of that.
Did you have Life 360?
Yes.
Do you have Life 360 now?
Yes.
Did you share your location with Sade?
Yes.
Did Sade share her location over Life 360 with you?
Yes.
When you found out that Sade was missing, did you ever check Life 360?
Yes.
Did you also have Find My Phone app?
Yes.
Is that a similar kind of service?
Yes, just through iPhone.
So one's through iPhone, the Find My app, and then there's a whole separate app, Life 360, right?
Yes.
You shared your location with her on both?
Yes.
When you contacted law enforcement, what information did you want to provide them?
My last, with the apps, her last locations that I had on my phone.
And how did you provide that information to them? In person, on the phone, over email?
Screenshots over email.
Okay, I'm going to show you exhibit number 39. Exhibit 39. It's a stack of papers. Just looking at the very top. Do you recognize the first page?
Yes,
What is on the first page?
me contacting the person to say, hi, I have information.
This is an outgoing email from you to a detective?
Yes.
And the detective that you emailed, what was his name?
It looks to be Detective Brian.
Okay. I'm gonna move up a little bit here. About halfway through the packet, did you send another email?
Yes,
And was it to the same detective?
yes.
What was the content of both of these emails? What were you sending him?
Information related to her whereabouts that I had.
From those apps?
Yes.
Both of them or just one?
Well, I see the first one says Life 360 and Find My.
Okay,
Can I see the second?
sure.
It doesn't look like I explicitly said the two apps again.
To your recollection, what you attached to these emails, were those the screenshots you took?
Yes.
And is that what Exhibit 39 is showing? If you can page through it if you'd like to.
Yes.
I move 39 in and ask to publish.
Any objection?
No.
39's received. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna put these up on the TV for you, okay? Just make sure you can see this TV, all right? Okay, Elena, the first page that we're looking at here, are you able to see that on the screen next to you?
Yes.
It's the email that you sent to Detective Brian, right?
Yes.
Okay. It says, this is Elena Fisher, Sade's best friend. That's how it starts, right? All right. Can you read the rest of it?
I talked to you earlier today with my cousin. Here are some of the locations I have from my Life 360 app and my Apple Find My app. Hopefully the formatting doesn't mess up, but it should start from Monday, 6:29 p.m. until her last location on Tuesday, 4:35 a.m. Let me know if you need any close-up of locations or any other information or details, my phone number.
I'll stop you there. What date and time did you send this?
April 3rd, 24 at 7:46 p.m.
I'm gonna go flip to page 2 here. This is a part of a screenshot you sent, correct?
Yes.
What app are we looking at here?
Life 360.
And what is it showing about Sade's location? Can you describe that for the jury based on what you're seeing on this screenshot?
It said that Sade was in a drive from that street to another street, and that's how long it took to get there?
Okay, you said that street to another street. There's a map on the screen, right?
Yes.
And there's this sort of line here, right?
Yes.
What does that line mean to you when you're looking at this app?
That's the route she took?
Okay. And it would start at the white?
Sometimes I can't remember. It usually tells you.
You can go ahead to page 2 here. It says drive details, right?
Yes.
And where does it say that she drove to and at what times?
She drove to 1137 North Water Street at 6:30 and arrived at 6:35 p.m.
So basically a 6-minute drive, and on the previous page, that's the route she took.
Yes.
Fair to say? Even tells you the top speed, right?
Yes.
38 miles per hour?
Yes.
This would have been from April 1st, is that right?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm going to go to the next page here. You sent a screenshot of another drive, is that right?
Yes.
A little bit of a glare, I'm going to see if I can break this. Does that make the route clearer?
Yes.
What do you know from looking at this screenshot about this drive?
That she took another drive,
At what time?
9:06,
Ending at what time?
9:28.
If we go to the next page, does it indicate where she went from and where she went to?
Yes.
Can you read what times and where?
12:15 North Water Street at 9:06 to South 40th at 9:28.
Top speed was what?
69.
And if you go back to the previous page, are you familiar with the freeway systems in Milwaukee?
Not exactly.
All right. From looking at this, does it look like she used the freeway, or are you not able to tell?
I would assume she used the freeway, but
Why are you assuming that? What makes you think that?
the direct way to get from north to south side is usually that straight line.
Okay. Go to the next screenshot. This one kind of goes across 2 pages, so I'll actually start at the second page. What are the trip details telling us about here?
That she was at South 40th Street at 12:48 a.m. to 3335 North Gordon Place at 1:38 a.m.
And that white dot where the beginning of the trip, the map, the cutoff piece of the map here at the top of the page, that white dot I'm pointing to right here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Right under where it says Jackson Park. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Then going back to the previous page. That end point of the trip you see is up above the word locust here, is that right?
Yes.
So that trip ended at 1:38 a.m. And then on the next one, did Life 360 notify of another trip?
Can you repeat that question?
What I have on the screen right now, is this another trip after the one we just talked about?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how life, like they wouldn't add. Do you mean like, can you repeat that?
Let's do it this way. This screenshot is one you sent, correct?
Yes.
What are we looking at here? What is this screenshot showing us? Or showing you?
A trip,
All right. What time does it say that the trip began and ended?
2:01 to 2:53.
And that white dot is up here next to the word Shorewood, right?
Yes.
And then it kind of zigzags back and forth. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And then goes down towards the bottom of the page, right?
Yes.
All right. And then if we go to the next page. We don't get much information here, but that line goes through kind of where it says Mitchell International Airport. You see that, right?
Yes.
And then it goes up north again. Back to the previous page, do you see at the bottom of the screen where the trip ends?
Cudahy?
Okay. That dot at the lower right side, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
And to reiterate, Life 360 was telling you that this trip ended at 2:53 a.m. Is that what that says at the top?
Yes.
Thank you. Next screenshot. What does this screenshot mean to you?
That she was at that location from that time.
And what is the time that's on that?
3:24 a.m. to 4:35 a.m.
Okay. And the next page, that would just be the location details from the previous page, right?
Yes. No.
It's showing us what?
The location she was at?
Okay. The next page. This one looks a little different. What are we looking at here?
The Find My app?
So the ones we were looking at before were like 360,
Yes.
and this is Find My.
Yes.
This icon right here, it's a photo of Sade, right?
Yes.
That's how it appears when you look, when you pull up the Find My app and search for someone?
Yes. It depends on if you have the contact photo for that person.
You have Sade's contact photo, I take it?
Yes.
And that's why it's showing up here?
Yes.
I'm gonna go to the next page. This is just a continuation off of the previous page, but the bottom of your phone's screenshot, what is it indicating about her location?
That she's at the Weremont Golf Course.
And does it have a time?
It just says at 4:33 a.m.
And does it say a day?
It just says yesterday.
It just says yesterday. But we know from your email you sent this to Detective Conti on April 3rd, right?
Yes.
So that would have been April 2nd, 4:33 a.m. That's where Find My app was telling you Sade's phone. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
This is the second email, right?
Yes.
And you sent a few more screenshots, right?
Yes.
What made you want to send more?
To provide whatever information I had.
Okay. The screenshot we're looking at here, at the bottom, it seems to have that same drive that we started off with, right?
Yes.
It also indicates that she made a 3-mile drive from 4:55 p.m. to 5:04, right?
Yes.
And if we go to the next page, we're moving ahead 9:06 p.m. to 9:28. It even tells you phone usage, right?
Yes.
This time frame would talk about Sade's 9-mile drive that she made from those times.
Yes.
And the map, are you familiar with what part of town is on the map here?
Semi.
Okay, what part of town is it, in your own words?
Downtown East Side.
Do you recognize what this is? It's okay if you don't.
Maybe the Pfizer Forum.
Said maybe the Pfizer Forum?
Maybe the Pfizer Forum.
Next page, just more details about that trip, right?
Yes.
Now we go back in time, 4:55 to 5:04 p.m. Is this the Pfizer Forum again here?
Possibly.
Okay. She used her phone at some time according to this, right?
Yes.
What time?
5:01.
And the trip details from this, tell us what?
That she went from 1619 North Farwell Avenue at 4:55 p.m. to 598 West Canal at 5:04 p.m.
Top speed?
38.
Says hard braking 1.
Yes.
Do you know, are you familiar with the area of 1619 North Farwell Avenue?
I'm familiar with Farwell, but not the exact address number.
Okay. What part of Farwell are you familiar with?
Like I believe it's called like the Lower East Side.
Did you know Sade to be familiar with that area too?
Yes.
How come?
Her job,
What job?
Pizza Shuttle. Yes.
Next page. This is just part of that last page, right? Same screenshot.
Yes.
This just shows her hard braking at 458 near North Jackson Street, right?
Yes.
This last, or this screenshot that I have up here, is this Find My or is this Life 360?
Life 360.
Do you know Life 360 to be able to give you information about the battery life of someone's phone?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you tell us what we're looking at here, in your own words?
That she did a 29-mile trip from 2:01 to 2:53 a.m. That her battery was low. So what it shows is that low battery drive detection is disabled. So some of the features start to, you know, and then that she was at 3335 North Gideon Place from 1:38 to 2:01, and then from 12:48 to 1:38, she did a 10-mile trip.
All right, and if we go to the next page would show that 10-mile trip began near South 40th Street, correct?
Yes.
At 9:28?
Yes.
And in those trips, according to the screenshot, her phone's on low battery, right?
Yes.
Can you repeat what you said about, or explain what the app does when your phone is on low battery, from what you understand?
So when it's low battery, because I know it's a different subscription that you have to have that I don't have currently, but some features get disabled. Most likely it's like a battery saving feature.
Okay. And the last screenshot that you sent. Says Tuesday, near 5152 South Sheridan from what time?
3:24 a.m. to 4:35 a.m.
And the bottom part of this, that was just a continuation from the last page, right?
Yes.
Sure.
After that 4:35 a.m. location from Life 360, were there any future notifications for you from where her phone was through either app that you used?
No.
That was the last one?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you, Judge.
Cross-examination?
Thank you. You knew Sade since fourth grade, you said, right?
Yes.
Best friend, right?
Yes.
And when you spoke with the police, it was your goal, obviously, to try to be helpful to the police, right?
Yes.
Because it's important to try to, for you, it was important to try to give information so the police could hopefully solve the crime, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you hadn't actually seen Sade since January. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, but you would text with her and communicate by phone, right?
Yes.
When you say text, when you would text, are we talking just you pick up the phone and you send a text message, or are there other ways in which you texting means other things?
We just texted the phone message, or might have sent
a message through Instagram.
Okay, that was my question. The word text can mean sending a message, well, DM, you could DM someone through Instagram, right?
Yes.
And you can communicate through Snapchat?
I didn't really use Snapchat.
Okay, you weren't friends with her on Snapchat?
I just personally don't use Snapchat.
Okay. Were you and Sade, back then in April of 2024, were the two of you linked or connected on Snapchat?
I believe so. I just don't typically use the app, so.
Okay. Facebook is another way to message someone?
I don't use Facebook.
Okay. Now, because you were friends with Sade, you knew that she lived over on Commerce Street in that apartment building, right?
Yes.
And you had been over to her apartment, hadn't you?
Yes.
Now, do you guys talk would you talk every day, or how often would you talk or text with Sade?
Relatively often.
Yeah, daily?
Sometimes daily, sometimes once a week, depends on how busy.
Okay, and this Life 360 app, when Sade elected to use it as a tracking service, she provided you with the information so that you could keep tabs on her whereabouts. Isn't that the idea?
Yes.
Who else did she provide that access to?
I'm not sure.
Never told you?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so when you look at Life 360, when you open up the app, can you see all the different people with whom she's sharing her location?
No.
All it shows you is where she's going or where the phone is going, right?
Yes.
Very good. So you don't know if it's any other people that she shares that with. All you know is that she shares it with you.
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't know anything about Max Anderson, right?
No.
Had you ever gone to Victor's bar with Sade?
No.
So you'd never seen Max at Victor's?
No.
Didn't know he's a bartender?
No.
Sade never said anything about being scared of someone named Max?
No.
But Sade would talk to you about, because you're friends, Sade would talk to you about various dates she was going on and various men she was seeing, right?
Yes.
That's a common thing to talk about amongst friends, right? I met this guy, I met that guy, right?
Yes.
This guy's creepy, this guy's weird, this guy's nice, this guy's mean, that type of stuff, right?
Yes.
Nicknames that girls have for guys. I call this one, I call this one guy Nelly because he might look like Nelly, for example, right?
Yes.
All right. And that's common, and you would discuss with her things like that on your end, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the only thing I really wanted to go through. Can I just wanted to show you these records right here. Is this how you did it? Zoom it in, right? Okay. Thank you. This is Exhibit 39, Judge, for the record. And yeah, out just a little bit. Thank you. That's perfect. Yep. So again, what you were going through before were Life 360 screenshots that you had taken and then sent into the police to try to help them, right?
Yes.
And so, for example, and let me ask this. The night that Sade went missing, the night she went missing, did you ever talk to her that night? Was she texting you about that evening, how it was going or anything like that?
No.
Or sending you Instagram messages, anything like that?
Can't remember.
You can't remember? Okay. If she had been messaging you, you would have wanted to turn that over to the police because that would be important, right?
Yes.
All right. So what we have here, for example, is just a map of Sade's 2-mile drive, right? It says at the top, Sade's 2-mile drive, right?
Yes.
And shows the Menominee Valley, and then shows some place off of Juneau Avenue. But it doesn't tell you didn't have any idea where specifically she was going, right?
No.
Did you know, for example, if she was going to the Twisted Fisherman? Did you have any idea?
No.
And then when we see Sade's drive details, Clybourne Street to Water Street. You're familiar with Water Street, right?
Semi.
Hmm?
Semi.
Okay. Well, it's a street that has a lot of bars on it. You know that,
Yes.
right? And that was a place that Sade would go periodically, right?
Not sure.
And then here, I know the state went through this with you, but again, it shows a 9-mile drive from Water Street right down to 40th Street, right? Very precise. Doesn't it?
Yes.
And it even shows, when you're looking at it in real time, it shows a starting location and a specific endpoint, right?
Yes.
And you didn't hold anything back from the police, right? You gave them every single thing that you had.
Yes.
And then the state was going through the reports with you, but there's a variety of places that Sade's Life 360 app showed her going that evening, right? There's numerous trips.
Yes.
We know about the last one where it ends at Warnemont Park, but before Warnemont Park, there's all sorts of Water Street to 40th Street, and then there's North Farwell to Canal Street. You've looked at all of these, right?
Yes.
And in fact, even sometimes, Life 360 shows, it even shows the speed that the vehicle was going, doesn't it?
Yes.
And it shows when phone usage is taking place.
Yes.
So it's providing, from as far as you know, it's providing data, information that you can look at to see if a person is safe, right?
Yes.
Is that the idea behind it, to make sure someone's safe?
Yes.
And this is very common, isn't it very common amongst the youngsters, young people? It's very common to share data, share their location, so others will know where they are, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's not a unique thing to Sade. That's something other friends of yours also do, right?
Yes.
Thank you, that's all.
State?
Briefly, do you recall whether you had a conversation with Sade about meeting someone the weekend before she went missing?
Yes.
What do you remember about that?
I remember she sent me a screenshot related to some person who had her number and was saying some things that made her feel uncomfortable.
Okay. Do you remember her talking to you about a person she had met at the bar?
I can't remember the place, but I remember she met somebody.
Would that have been the weekend prior?
Like with the dates, I can't remember the exact dates. I just remember before this incident, she told me about some person who was,
That she met at a bar?
the bar part, I can't remember.
Okay, nothing else.
Cross?
No.
Thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone need a break at this point? It's 10:40. Okay, we're gonna take a bathroom break for like 10 minutes and then we'll bring you right back. Please leave your notebooks on your chairs.
Missed your email, Jason.
Anything further to address on the record, State?
No.
Defense?
Just while the jury is out, I did want to mention, just for the record, for what it's worth, that there are times where I notice there's leading questions or hearsay, and I just want to be clear, I'm not objecting to every one of these things, even though I'm well aware of all of them, just to sort of move this along, because a lot of it's foundational stuff, and I don't think it's important to lodge objections when there's every leading question. I may do that later. I just wanted to make a record of that.
If you find something objectionable and wish to object,
Sure.
feel free at
Thank
any
you.
point. Anything further?
No.
No, thank you.
Okay, we'll take a 10-minute break. We'll be back shortly.